Dawn of the Dead from 2004 is easily one of the best horror remakes ever made. It has a director's cut with 9 extra minutes of extra footage and more gore. And the physical media releases have some of the best special features of all time that are essentially in-universe short films that pair with the movie. So today I want to take a look at both versions of the film, as well as some of these special features. Let's get into it. Dawn of the Dead came out when I was 13. I was already familiar with the original, and although I didn't see this one in theaters, I did get to rent it when it came to home video, and it was a hell of a time. The version I later bought was a 2-pack with this movie and Land of the Dead. Both versions are the unrated director's cuts. So I pretty much only experienced the director's cut of this movie growing up. And I think many of you are probably the same way. And maybe you were also lucky enough to own a copy with all the extras. In terms of DVD special features, this has got to be like on the top 10 list, right? This stuff's incredible. So first, let's get into the differences between the two cuts. And of course, as always, I'm not going to talk about every little change in this movie. Some of them are really minute or, inconsequential. But if you're curious, there is a link in the description down below to the article about this film on moviecensorship.com. I highly recommend checking that out. The first change happens when Anna is driving in a panic and she sees a naked woman. It's only 5 seconds, but it adds more nudity, which for some people is important, I guess. But again, it's a small change. Shortly after that, there's a new scene added in with Anna and Kenneth walking across an empty playground. And once again, this is a small scene added. There's nothing really being impacted by having this in here. Unless you think the imagery, itself is particularly spooky. An empty playground during a zombie apocalypse, sure, I get it. The first real significant change comes at the mall. While the group is outside before they can get in, a one-armed zombie is running at them. They promptly deal with him before moving inside. And as someone who always watched the director's cut, I'm surprised to learn this is one of the added scenes. It seems like a no-brainer, or maybe a no armor. The next change is kind of a smaller one, but it's still worth noting, because it's an alternate shot with added gore. There's no time difference here, but as you can see, when the zombie's head is impaled, there's a bunch of blood coming out in the director's cut. That's not in the theatrical. I guess this is the stuff that the MPAA is really worried about. This is what director's cuts exist for, though. In another added scene, the survivors locked in the furniture store have a conversation. Andre's only concern is keeping Luda and the baby safe, understandably, while Michael talks about the helicopter and the likelihood of its return, and what their plan of action should be. Andre gets mad and confronts Michael. He asks why they should follow what he says, and questions what he does for a living.
What the fuck do you do?
I sell televisions at Best Buy.
Which leads to an interaction between Andre and Kenneth.
How you like following a guy that sells TVs?
To which he replies,
About as much as I like following a guy who steals them.
Something I do really like in this extended version is Ken Foree's cameo.
And Satan is sending his dead to us.
It's a little extended here, and it's dark and it's brutal.
You kill unborn children. You have man-on-man relations.
It's realistic in what a TV preacher might be saying under these actual conditions, and especially in 2004. But it's Ken Foree. Regardless of what his character is saying, if there's an opportunity to hear from him more in this movie, I'm there. The quick scene with Michael talking to Norma is a tiny bit longer with a couple extra lines thrown in. Overall, though, it's not very consequential. It serves to humanize a little bit more and gives, more context to some of these characters. The scene where Nicole says goodbye to her father, Frank, is a bit longer as well. More emotional, and with an attempted better send-off for his character, I guess. This guy, by the way, played the neighbor dad opposite of Rick Moranis in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. 2 very formative movies I watched during very different periods of my childhood. Another fun little bit added in comes when CJ has taken a relationship test.
Top 10 ingredients to a successful relationship. Alright, I'm gonna skip to the top 3.
And finds that trust is the most important thing.
It's trust. Number 1's trust.
I find this whimsical and fun. The kind of stuff I don't mind added in that isn't gore or violence, and doesn't even really add to the story. And we get another bit with CJ added in. It has him locked up while Glenn tells CJ his life story, and about how he realized he was gay.
I guess the first time I knew I was gay, I was 13. This guy, he was building a deck in our backyard.
Okay.
This has CJ losing his mind, just locked away listening to this guy ramble on, and it's at least mildly amusing, but overall nothing to write home about. In a callback to the relationship test with CJ, when they are talking about whether to give CJ a gun or not, he says,
Trust. Primary ingredient in any relationship.
this kind of humor, I suppose I'd call it, is welcomed by me once again, because in a movie this dark, you want some moments of relief. The scene with Norma discovering Andre and the zombie baby and whatnot has a lot of quick shots added in, extending the scene. More violence and more gunshots, but nothing I really personally felt like was worth putting back in here except for maybe the ending shots of the baby. In another extended scene between the group of survivors, they talk about who will speak about the recently deceased in memorial. They bring up Glenn because he was the church organist, but he says he doesn't believe in God. I giggled at that. And again, this is more humor added in, not so much blood and violence. The scene with Michael and Anna preparing the vehicles has an extra bit added in with them kissing. Ultimately unnecessary depending on how you look at it, but whatever. Some of the concluding battle scenes have more shots, and one sequence in particular is almost an entire additional minute added in. CJ throws a gas tank out and shoots it. This I like, this is fun. You make a minute-long scene out of that, that's fun. I do kind of wish there was more violence as opposed to humor added in, but this was the stuff that was cut. Lastly, the director's cut adds in some footage at the end when Michael is left alone on the dock. He stands, points the gun at himself, and fires it. It's a little darker, I think. But I also think it's sort of relieving for him, and for the audience. He's not going to get eaten alive now. These two cuts are really only the beginning, though, because the special features are like entire extended movies that fit in the world within the film. The big two are The Lost Tape, Andy's terrifying last days revealed, and Special Report, We Interrupt This Program. We're going to talk about The Lost Tape first. It's basically just a 17-minute found footage short film that chronicles Andy, the gun store owner who, is stranded across the parking lot from Kenneth, and they communicate throughout the movie. It shows his time during the film from just before we're introduced to him in the movie and everything he goes through in this period. I think it's super creative to have this and to have made this and include it here. It shows he has a wife and kids, he's divorced, but it's cut similarly to Cloverfield, I think, with footage of his daughter and wife spliced in when the camera starts and stops recording. The end is even similar, with Andy being killed and horrific stuff happening on camera before cutting back to the older footage before the disaster. This is like Diary of the Dead before it existed. Highly recommend checking it out. Then we have the Special Report Zombie Invasion, and I'm glad they included it here like this. The doctor's accent is completely unnecessary and ridiculous in here.
Deep throat laceration, even a large section of flesh torn away as if by a rabid dog or wild animal.
I mean, come on, who trusts this guy?
Deep throat.
It has White House press briefings, statistics updates, and I would put this on my TV as a teenager and kind of pretend I was in the zombie apocalypse. It was a fun time. Both of these are really cool in-universe short films that expand the story. And it makes me very nostalgic for the mid-2000s when it was truly a movie nerd's paradise, with DVD special editions coming out every week, loaded with cool and unique special features. I want to know what you guys think of this stuff. Which cut do you think's better? And have you seen these special features? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear from you.
Deep throat